Christian, this has to do with relationships, and I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to the difference. Like, okay, so clearly we don't want to be in a position of wanting to fix our partner, and at the same time, like there's something else that's about like being true to ourselves and to what we want, and asking for what we want. And so, could you say a little bit about the difference between those? And because sometimes it can get tricky. Like, how do you ask for what you want without it sliding over into trying to fix and like that?
Yes. Well, let's first define for everybody at home. If you are fixing, it implies that there's something deficient. There's something not quite whole and complete in front of you. So when we talk about fixing doesn't work, what we're really saying is when we're in judgment of what is and we're not loving what is, and not accepting that what is enough, that often doesn't work. When I say often, it rarely ever works, because there's now going to be a entrained or a sense, it's going to be very hard to show up in that space. So fixing is coming from the intention to bring somebody up and to somehow solve a problem, come to solution, and it comes from a perspective that there's something broken. Now, that intention comes from intrinsically a judgment. So when I need to fix, it starts with me needing to fix me. So whenever I want to fix somebody, I'm starting with the judgment that what is not okay. That's very different to a need or a want. If I want my partner to give more presence or attention to me, I'm not making their current level of attention or presence wrong. I'm inviting a greater level because it will bring me joy. So I have to track, is my request coming from a need to fix them into more presence because they're not present enough? Or am I loving their presence and I just wish to experience more of it because it will open us to greater love? Now, an enlightened relationship connects to the latter. An unenlightened relationship connects to the former. That is, judgments lead them to their requests rather than longing. So the difference between judgment and longing is the biggest difference in the world. And you know what? Partners feel it. When a partner will feel like if the request comes from, step up, I need more of you, because what I'm getting isn't enough. And you know what's so ironic? A lot of the time, couples do feel like they're not getting enough, and they're pained by it. So by the time they actually share their need, it is coming from that place. And you know, when people receive requests from that place, it's really hard for a lot of people to respond. They don't want to show up. They're like, I don't want to give you that. Because until you love me as I am, I'm not going anywhere for you. So it's a really fine dance and then you can get stuck there. That's where a lot of relationships get stuck, is, well, who's going to go first? Like the chicken and the egg scenario. One of you has to move, otherwise it will just collapse eventually. Or you just go numb and you just have a relationship that you settle for less for, which nobody wants. So to negotiate that dance requires great internal awareness of whether you're coming from judgment or true longing. And when you are, to own the judgment. That's all you need to do. Is if you admit, I'm running the idea and the thought, and I'm just having this judgment right now, I'm owning it, I'm taking full ownership of it. There's this feeling that you're not showing up. That's what is moving for me, because I feel hurt and I feel like I'm not getting what I need. And I realize that what I really want is more, but I know it's not going to come from me fixing you. So I'm aware of, and I'm tracking that part that wants to fix. I just want you to know that it's really big and strong in me. And I also want to give you the complete freedom to be who you are because I love you. So that's real heart intelligent communication at work, because you're honoring both parts. That's the bridge. So you need to be pretty articulate together to work through that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not easy though. I acknowledge that one is a fantastic question, because it hits on a dance that is so delicate, So delicate.
And just as a follow-up, so like I hear you saying the distinction about when there's something that you want more of. And what about when there's something that you're not okay with or that just doesn't sit right for you? So it's not that you want your partner to give you more of something, but you're just like having to like draw a line or just let your partner know about something that doesn't
Fantastic
work.
question, yeah. So accepting what is doesn't mean being a doormat and therefore letting them treat you any way that they want based on you not having any boundary. So when I'm sure about who I am and I have a lot of self-worth, when I feel my worth, I feel what's okay and what's not okay in terms of how I'm going to be treated. So when somebody doesn't have good self-worth, they lose containment of their boundary and they allow others to treat them in ways that a healthy self-worth person would never allow themselves to be treated. So what I've realized is that when I have worth, I have clear boundaries, and when those boundaries are crossed, the natural response of that is to assert those boundaries. And if those boundaries continue to be crossed, anger is the natural, healthy response. And clarity comes from the place of saying, I need you to know that this is what I need in order to stay open to you. This is what I want. This is what's okay with me, and this is what's not okay with me. That type of clear communication lets the other person know how to be successful with you. That's not being needy. That's not trying to fix them. That's them not trying to fix you. That's just me saying, this is what I know works for me. And I really want to know what works for you, and then let's work together with that. And the heart-centered communication is the bridge between the two.
Great.
But I have to have my own boundaries in order to do that. In other words, if you don't have clear boundaries, you create a merger and it creates a codependent dynamic where now both parties are in violation of each other's space. And now that's when the fixing occurs because they're now trying to fix the other, which is a reflection of them trying to fix themselves because they don't know how to disentangle from the codependent dynamic.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Great question.